Okay, we're going live for the first ever time. I don't really know how this works, I've never done it before, and also, no expense spared here, folks. I'm using a selfie stick and a plastic bottle. Rock on! So, here we go. Hey Alfie, hey Isaac, hi Cleed. So yes, I don't really know what I'm doing. If I can get this to balance. So yeah, I just wanted to give you some updates on what's going on. It's been a cool week. Hi Kat, how's things going? Hi Alana. I shouldn't have moved this bottle because now we're rocking all over the shop. Oh my gosh. Let me tuck this wire. Okay, there we go. Finally. Yeah, so I just wanted to give you guys an update on what's been going on. Hey Marina. Hey Khalid. Hey Zule. I hope this is a good time for you guys because obviously it's quite late over here. It's like 10 o'clock. Is it 10 o'clock? It's 10:30. But obviously you guys in the States, it's a bit nicer. So can you see me? Good. I have my tea as well. My chicken cup. Everybody has to have a chicken cup in their lives, right? And I found this and it was only 99p. Gotta love a bit of tea. So yeah, so everything over here it's been a good week actually. As you know, sometimes I'm a bit up and down, and if you watch the Smallholding Diaries, it can be up and down. And I always find that July is kind of a crazy month in terms of growing stuff. So all my chats disappeared. Where have they gone? Oh, here we go. I can see you now. Hey, John. Thanks, Isaac. Yeah, so everything's been a bit crazy here. And July, I find, is like that month where everything is the spring stuff is starting to go over in the garden. And the summer stuff hasn't come on yet. So you're in that middle progress. Whereas in August, you can start sowing. So I've been sowing tons of crops. And I've been sorting out, I don't know why these chats keep disappearing off my screen. Hey, thanks Khalid, I'm glad. Growing is really, really cool. So, yeah, so this past week I've been sowing tons of autumn veggies. If you saw yesterday's video, yeah, she's scratching back there. Yeah, so if you saw yesterday's video, I've been putting in my autumn salad crops. So I've been putting in rocket and spinach and stuff like that, which is really nice. And radishes are already coming up. And I've been doing some chicken housework today as well. So I've been sorting out the chickens for sale next week, which is really exciting. So I've been to auctions before and bought, but I've never sold any chickens. So I'm selling next week. So all those chicks that you saw on Chick Check, a lot of them are going to get sold. So yeah, so it's going to be really, really cool to see. It's an auction, so I'm going to set a minimal amount and then I'll just see what happens. Hey Jeannie. Yeah, well, this is home. I hope the lighting's all right. It's quite a dark room because we've got quite a dark colour on the wall, apart from the chimney breast. But yeah, hopefully it's all right. So yeah, so that's the updates really. I've just been sewing a lot of stuff, and yeah, Alfie, yeah, putting in those lettuce and radishes, and I might do some Christmas potatoes because I haven't really got room here to put potatoes into my borders because, as you know, I do like quick growing stuff, and the potatoes take up too much room, as do like cabbages and things. But I'm thinking I might do some tubs of potatoes to try and get them for Christmas, and then that'll keep the all the beds free for like salads and carrots and things like that. So it's nice to see you all. I hope you're all having a great day wherever you are. Today's been a really good day. We've had tons of thunderstorms today. So in between the thunderstorms, I've been running down the garden to feed chickens, grab feed bags that I've left out in the rain and trying not to let them go off. Chasing Miracle around the garden because she keeps getting out. Yeah, when I had an allotment, Alfie, most of my allotment was potatoes and onions. But I don't eat a hell of a lot of potatoes and onions, so there's no point in me growing them really. Do I have any I don't have any Buff Orpingtons because they're quite a large fowl. So I tend to have more bantams. So I don't keep the Buffs. But your three are really, really cute. I don't know how you tell them apart though, because they're all very similar. And I loved how they jumped up onto your knee as well. They're really big fowl though, because I don't know if you've seen my Ixworth in my chicken video where I showed Eddie Ixworth. He's large fowl, but Buff Orpingtons are like one of the largest chicken breeds, I believe. So they're going to be big things. Tell me about it, John. I need to get out of Grays and get to Suffolk, but I've got another 2 years here, so I have to just sit on my hands and try and be patient because, you know, because that's the whole plan, is eventually to move up to the farm where we've got this 40 acres and it's there, and we go up camping and we try and do loads of stuff, but you know, there's only so much, we can't have livestock, there's only so much stuff you can do up there when you're not there on site all the time. Next year I am going to try and grow some potatoes and some beans and kind of crops that you can put in and leave. And I'm guessing that if I go up there once a month, I'll be able to earth up potatoes and things like that. So that is the plan. Well, so my cockerels. Well, I haven't had any complaints as yet about cockerel noise, so I'm quite lucky. I'm in a terrace strip of 4 houses, and my immediate neighbours are both older, elderly ladies, and they love the sound of cockerels, and I sell everybody eggs. And I box my cockerels at night, so what that means is I go out when it's dark, and I get all my cockerels, and they go into cardboard boxes, and they come into my lean-to, which is right here, and they get covered in a cloth. And that kind of cuts the crowing out until I get up and I take them out. So I bring them in at night, and then about 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, I take them out again and unbox them. And that kind of gets around the whole crowing issue because they crow a lot. And as you've heard in my videos, they start crowing competitions, and it will go in a circular. So Barry will go, and then Eddie will go, and then Brewster will go, and then Skexis will go. And my God, there will be like 20-minute intervals where you've got a crow every 20 seconds, and it does my head in. So, which is one reason why I culled those cockerels the other day, which was a good thing because, as you might have seen, the hens have recovered really well. Let me just scroll up. Oh, that's really exciting. Alana. So Alana's just posted to say she's got eggs in the incubator, and there's another 2 weeks. I've got eggs as well. I'm really excited. You never lose the excitement of eggs in the incubator, I tell you. Like, this must be my, I don't know, 30th batch of eggs, and I'm mega excited. And I've got tons of quail, and I've got those silkies, so I'm doing more of Barry's babies to get that orange hairdo. So I've got more of those coming as well. What's your neighbour saying about your poultry, Khalid? Hi, Brian. Hello. Barry, will I register the name Toasted Marshmallow? Well, maybe. Or the Toasty Silkies. I don't know. I need to give that some thought, and I need to see how they come out as well, because I don't know. Because there's a few. One of the hens is totally white. She hasn't got any toasting on her at all. Another one has got that big orange crest, and she's got a bit of sprinkling down her breast of the orange, which is what I like. And then another one's got a strange band of orange around her tail, which I don't like. So I'm going to try and breed away from the patchiness and do the kind of the streaks. So they look like they've kind of been painted with a paintbrush. So that's what I'm going for. But we'll see. I've never done a chicken breeding genetics plan before, so it could be like... Oh, yeah, so try boxing your boy cat. If it's an issue, just put him in a cardboard box every night and cover him over. And then the theory is, obviously if it's dark, he won't crow. I mean, they do still crow a little bit. And sometimes I have to get up at 4 a.m, 5 a.m. to take my husband to work. And they'll hear me in the kitchen. And then they'll start crowing. But because they're kind of in a utility room and they're shut off, I don't mind so much because the neighbours can't really hear it because they're kept inside. Hi, Jess. Oh, cool. Hatching lizards and snakes. That must be really, really cool. I really wanted them when I was young, but I was never allowed. I also wanted a tortoise because I wanted to you put the eggs in sand or something, don't you? And then in an incubator. But I never got to see that either. What else? Yeah, pop him in the outhouse, cat, because that might really, really work. Um, I have been really, really lucky with chickens around here, and my neighbours have been really good considering, I'm in a tiny garden. It's 45 square metres maybe, and I've got at any given time between 30 and 45 chickens, and of all different sizes, obviously. Um, and at one point, I had about 10 roosters. So, and they do crow all the day. So I am quite lucky in the fact that my neighbours haven't complained yet, because that can be an issue. I mean, it's quite loud around here anyway. So if somebody did come from the council to talk to me about it, I would fight it a little bit, because we have yapping dogs. We have a road right over there with motorbikes roaring up and down it. So I would fight it, and I wouldn't get rid of the cockerels. I might just say I'm going to cull some, reduce the numbers, etc. But yeah, it can be a difficult one with neighbours that don't like chickens, and just cause a stink for no reason. I have been lucky so far, but that's another reason why I can't wait to get out of here and get to Suffolk and up to the farm, because then I don't have to box my chickens. I can have all the roosters out all night long. They can have big pens. I won't have to worry about mounting levels of poo. It'll be so good. Plus I'll get my cows and my goats and my horses and everything else that I want. I do sometimes think that I've got too much going on, John. I mean, as I said, this is only a 45 square metre garden, and this is the downside of urban gardening. You have to be super organised, super structured, because you've got so much crammed in there. You've got to be really, really on it in terms of especially livestock management, because disease spreads quickly in confined quarters. So if you have your chickens in a field and there's an outbreak, you can move all your healthy chickens to another field out the way. Whereas here, if something happens, everybody's crammed in. I am going to breed less chickens this year. This is part of the problem with the chick check. That was a test hatch in the incubator, and then those new incubators ended up really, really good. And everything hatched, whereas I was expecting for a 50% hatch. So instead of having like 10 chicks, I ended up with about 20. So next year I'm not going to do so many. I'm not going to do so many hybrids. I'm just going to focus on the meat birds. I would like to try and raise about 25 meat birds a year, because then that is one per fortnight to eat. For the freezer. I obviously can't have them all at once because I haven't got the space, so I'll have to stagger it. But I think one homegrown bird per fortnight is completely doable if you stagger the hatches throughout the year. But yeah, it does feel like a bit too much sometimes. And it takes up a lot of time, When I have to go to work in the morning, I have to get up at least half an hour early than I would normally to get out and sort all the chicken, unbox all the cockerels, make sure everybody's got food and water, check the quail, check the finches, feed all the birds. I've got budgies and cockatiels in here as well. And then with the raised beds, make sure everything's watered. I haven't got an outside drip system here. I haven't even got an outside tap. So it's up and down with the watering can. So that is time consuming as well. So it can get a bit much sometimes. And I think that is why sometimes I have down days. But generally, I've crammed in a lot and it's all working at the moment. I know, little beans. Zule, I know roosters can be an issue. I don't think anywhere in the UK they're actually banned. But obviously, because of the noise, the council can get involved and make you get rid of them. They can't do that with chickens. It's much harder for councils to get rid of chickens, because I've been learning over the past few months, there's actually a law that was written last century. It's the allotments and livestock law or something like that, and it actually means it supersedes tenancy laws and things like that, so you can keep chickens. But I know that keeping roosters, especially in places like Canada and North America, there's so many rules and regulations about how many you can keep, if you can have a rooster. Yeah, and I'd be heartbroken, if you got chickens and then you found out you couldn't keep them. Because what's wrong with a chicken? They lay eggs, they give you meat, they're lovely, beautiful, funny, quizzical little things. Yeah, so I'm gutted, but I'm really excited that some of you guys have started getting them. So since I've been watching the channel, Zule, so Little Beans Garden, and also Marina at the Passionate Garden, they've both got chicks, and it's been really, really cool to see their little runs and their new chicks and seeing their chicks grow. So actually, you two, I want to see some updates on your chicks. What's Alana saying? We don't have an outside tap, but I found... Oh yeah, that's cool. I did try a tap. So the problem is I've only got one tap on my kitchen sink, which is one of the hose ones. And I did buy a connector, and it was specifically made for those hose things. But no matter how hard I did it, it kept popping off. So I'd be halfway down the garden hosing, the water pressure would disappear. I'd come running back up the garden, and the water would just be across the ceiling, up the walls, everywhere. So I gave up. So it's back to hose, watering cans. The kitchen is on the back of the house, so when I've got a bit of cash, I'm going to try and get a plumber around and get an outside tap put in, because it'll be way easier. Oh no, I'm sorry, Kyle. It's horrible to lose a hen, but the good thing is, I guess, that at least she died of old age. Yeah, but it sucks, doesn't it? Especially, but I always like it, I shouldn't say I like it, but when you walk down and somebody's died of old age, or you just find them dead on the floor, I prefer that to them having disease or an illness or something, and then you have to make the decision. It's like all animals, with dogs and cats and things. You have to make that decision in the end, don't you? Whether to take them to be put down or to keep them going. And it's a hard thing. Well, John, so the problem with Suffolk is actually visa issues with my current marriage situation. So Saad has to earn a certain amount of money to keep qualifying for his visa. So when we move to Suffolk, we'll basically be both leaving our jobs, selling our house and moving up there and starting from scratch. So doing that when there are visa restrictions in place would just be way too stressful for me and for him. So we're going to wait until it's all done and he's got indefinite leave to remain and British citizenship, and then we are going to hop skip up there and build this dream house. Yes, so Jeannie, I really want to breed cattle. I love cows. Part of the thing with the smallholding up in Suffolk is I want to do local breeds, which is why I got the Ixworth chickens. And I was originally going to do Dexters because they were quite little cows, but then I spoke to some Dexter breeders and they said that they might be little cows, but they have a big personality. So they're not actually, although they're little, they're not easy to handle. But there is a local breed called the Red Pole, which was also bred as a dual purpose. That gives good meat with good marbling, apparently. And it also has good dairy as well. So the aim is to, when we get there, to buy some young suckling heifers, so 2 or 3 young suckling heifers, and look after, bottle feed them and rear them. So we've got 18 months experience with cows before they're adults, and then buy in some artificial, buy in some semen and artificially inseminate them, and then have calves and maybe keep a stock bull. And I would really like to go down that really pedigree route. Cat, yeah, it's ridiculous. So I'm not going to get massively into it, but over here in the UK, if your spouse is from abroad and you're moving them in, if your spouse is from abroad and they're coming, you have to earn a minimum requirement for them to stay. And they've just changed that as well. So it used to be for 2 years, and then you could apply for leave to remain. It's now 5 years, and then you apply for leave to remain. So we are in year 3. Yeah, we're in year 3, I think. So we've done 2 lots, and the fees are extortionate. And the fee for leave to remain was £1,800, which is extortionate. And I checked the other day, and it's gone up to £2,300 just for somebody to push a pen around a piece of paper. But I'm not going to get into it because I'm going to get furious. But yeah, it's ridiculous. Hi Renate, you're Bruce's saviour. Renate saved Bruce from the by saying he was a beautiful colour. So he's staying to be bred with silkies. Hi Susan. Well, when we're all set up on the smallholding, we're going to run some smallholding courses, and we're going to run some open days. So of course, everybody is invited. So I have 4 budgies, and I have 2 cockatiels. I'm not going to take you out of the bottle because otherwise I'm not going to be able to get it back. But so that is 2. You can see the cockatiels over in the back, and the budgies are up there. So the cockatiels are Hansel and Gretel, and the budgies up there, all named after like astrological features. So that budgie is Sunny and Io. And then we have, in the kitchen, I have Venus and Pluto. And now I'm on a squonk, but I'm not going to be able to get this right again, am I? I need to get a proper tripod. Definitely. And now my chat's disappeared. Cat, my land's up in Suffolk. There's a couple of farm vlogs on the YouTube channel, so you can take a look at those and have a quick look. We were up there last weekend, but I didn't film a vlog because it went to crap, basically. The weather was terrible. The tent almost blew away. We were supposed to camp for 2 nights. We only camped for 1 night in the end, and it was just a bit of a washout, so I didn't even vlog it. I do have a cat. I used to have 3. I'm just down to 1 now. He's deaf, and he is a little bit senile too, and he keeps us up all night meowing. But I love him because he's 19. He's 19, I think, which is like 80 or something, 85 in cat years, which is kind of crazy. I'm sorry I keep putting my hand forward, just because my chat on I'm doing this on my mobile phone, and my chat keeps disappearing. So I can't see what people have said. 57 birds. Wow, that is a load, Susan. We love birds. Actually, I say that's loads. I've probably got the same. Because I've got the finches, the quail, the chickens, the budgies, the cockatiels. Yeah, so I've probably got the same actually. Thanks, Brian. I'm just trying to keep it happy and upbeat, and you know, I was going to do the live chat on the computer, and then my webcam is awful, so I didn't really know how this was going to work out. But actually, it's really, really easy to do on your phone. So do a live chat, everybody, because it's really fun. When can you expect more wildlife vids from Suffolk? Well, I'm trying to get up there once a month, so I will try and take pictures. So we thought the first owl box had been bred in, but I think we might have been wishing on a star because there wasn't any activity this time. Although it absolutely poured, and obviously owls don't hunt when it's raining, so we don't quite know. We do know that owls, in the first nesting box tree, we do know there are owls roosting there because we found pellets below. And I think I did a video where I dissected one, and there are tons and tons of little voles that have been picked up in the wildflower meadow. So we do know they're there, and we've seen at least two barn owls, and we've heard tawny owls. So I'm hoping that we can actually get some chicks, and then we can get the local bird ringers in, and we can ring the chicks, and we can film it all, and maybe weigh them and hold them and show them. But you're not allowed to disturb barn owl nest boxes. It's illegal if you haven't got a license. So I would love to get the ladder and climb up in the nest box, but if I did, technically I'd be breaking the law, and I don't really know what I'm doing if I did disturb anything, so we're just going to wait and see. But hopefully we'll be going up in September again to do some more work on the pond and clearing that out and changing it into a wildlife thing, so we'll take some more video then. Which type of bird is my favourite? Alana, I have no idea, because I love them all. I've just spilled tea. I don't have favourite birds because I'm mesmerised by birds. I don't know if any of you subscribe to a chap, I think it's called Daybirds Aviaries or something. He's got so many lorries and parakeets and macaws, and it's amazing. And I was really lucky as a kid. So imagine my bedroom, a small box room. I had two big aviary flights filled with finches and budgies, and I had tons of cages everywhere, just filled. You could hardly get in my room. It was like a zoo. So I really I like tiny little finches, all the way through to like macaws and chickens. And we want to breed ornamental pheasants when we're on the farm, so like tragopans and things like that. I love them all. Rabbits. I know rabbits breed like crazy. So do you use them for just as pets, or do you use them for meat, Khalid? I'd be interested about that, because that is something I am thinking about. Oh yeah, I know, my quail. So my quails are in the bottom of my aviary, which is great because they get to run around and pick up the seed, but I agree, the eggs go all over the place. So I am thinking I might be moving them into those large indoor rabbit cages, and keeping them in those and separating out the cock birds, so they've all got their own little group of hens, and it'll make egg collection much easier. Peacocks, cat, yes, I really want peacocks. And I know a guy that has peacocks in a fairly urban environment, and he was saying that the main sound, so the main reason the males call is to attract females. So if you keep males with females, the call is really kept to a minimum, which is a good thing to know. Although, I did tell my parents when I was young that diamond doves only call during the breeding season. It just so happens the breeding season is 365 days a year. And my dad had the flu, and I got home from school, and he told me that if I didn't sort them out, he was going to kill them because he couldn't cope with the noise. Yeah, I really want to breed pheasants. I know, I think the more intelligent birds, the cockatoos and the macaws and things, they're like little people, so they need a lot of work. It's illegal. Where in the world are you, Khalid? I know those summer evening vids up at the farm. I just love it when the sun is setting through across those ancient oak trees. There's like 4 or 5 oak trees which have been there. Well, they were there when my granddad moved in 1906, so they're over 100 years. They're probably older, so you can just imagine what have they seen during their lifetime. If trees could speak, it would just be amazing. So I love capturing those with the light going down. And yes, we are going to, hopefully in the future, we're going to have work parties there. And then, as I said, we are going to be running smallholding courses as well. And there's a lot to do. And I really want to make the wildlife conservation aspect quite community based, and we've already run a couple of community funded projects, as you might know, the Wildflower Meadow and the Owl Boxes. So I would like to make it a community thing where people could come and help. So that's definitely a possibility. Tanzania, that is so cool. I know, YouTube is brilliant, isn't it? Like, I'm sitting in a little terrace house in southeast England, talking to people all over the world. It's pretty cool. Hi, thank you, Akhtar. I don't know your first name, but welcome and thank you. I can't believe how good the animals are being. I thought they'd be racing around all over the place. And I can't believe I've been talking gibberish for half an hour already. So thank you for checking in. I don't know why these silly chats are disappearing. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so I will let you know. So next Sunday is the poultry auction, so I will let you know how that goes, and I'll probably do a little video because I want to show you guys what chickens I'm selling, and obviously report back how they do. So the silkies come in a bantam form and a large fowl form. I haven't got true. So I picked my silkies up randomly. I did it all wrong. I didn't go through proper breeders at all. So my silkies are neither large fowl or bantam. They're kind of an in-between size. So a bantam silky really is quite small, whereas you've seen that Barry is sort of middle size. So they're kind of they've probably just been bred together over the years. And they've come up as this mid-sized silky. But you can buy proper bantam silky eggs if that's what you're looking for. Good luck with the coursework, Kat. See you later. No, I wouldn't say they're slightly blind either. I think just with some of the ornamental chickens, like silkies and Polands, and anything with a head crest that comes over, they can be a bit distracted, and that's why they get spooked and can become a little bit aggressive as well, because they can't see as well. So I had that with one of my the first ever Poland cockerel I hatched. I had to actually cull this Christmas because he came mega aggressive, and because of avian flu they were all in lockdown, so they were shut in the shed and I had to cull him. But it was partly because I did clip his crown back, but yeah, he got that aggressive urge and he stayed like that, so I had to keep, and sadly I had to keep him going like that. Hey Alana, well I'm not sure about the camping thing yet because obviously we haven't thought that far ahead in terms of planning of what we're going to be doing, and also so my granddad's farm was sold off, so the farmhouse and some of the existing buildings were sold off and they were converted into holiday cottages, and the guy that did it has done an amazing job and he's really, really friendly and he's great. But I wouldn't want to step on his toes in terms of taking away potential business for his cottages. So it's just going to be a careful balancing act when we move there. And obviously to start with, we're going to be building a house and trying to get this small holding up and running and making a living from it. So we may do camping or caravan site in the future, or we may just do visits, school visits and things like that. So we don't know yet. Hey, so if you've got Cochin Bantams and you wanted a traditional larger breed, you could do silkies. Just try not to get the large fowl silkies because they are pretty big. But if you went, I think even a Bantam silky would be larger than a Cochin silky. I never know how to say that. Is it Cochin or Cochin? I'm never quite sure. My favourite breed of chicken? There are so many. And I haven't kept half of them. And I've just started this YouTube series, The Chicken Check-In, and where I showed my 3 favourite chickens, and then I've just had my first submission. So on Wednesday coming, we're going to be heading over to Liz's small holding in Wales to see hers. And she's got 3 chickens, 3 types of chickens, 2 of which I've never heard of, and I learned tons about them. So I don't really have a favourite breed, I just want to collect them all, like Pokemon. That'd be great, wouldn't it? Go out to the streets and just collect chickens. Yeah, Jeannie, I've rescued several battery hens as well. And in fact, the first hens I got when we moved here were battery hens. And it's amazing to see them feather up so quickly. The only thing I do find with battery hens is they don't seem, because of their life, and I mean, I'm sure they're vaccinated for commercial reasons. They must be, because they're all in that tight confinement. But I found they don't last very long. I rescued 4 in this past June, and after a month I'd lost 2 already. And I think it's just through to the stress of their lives. And yeah, so I just find it's brilliant. Don't get me wrong, it is brilliant to rescue battery hens and give them another lease of life and another chance. But I do find they come with quite a few issues because of their poor upbringing. Like I haven't lost a single chicken yet that I've raised from scratch. They're all perfectly healthy and I haven't lost a single one. The battery hens, I've lost quite a few, and I think that's because they're put under such stress, and their immune systems take a right old battering. And also the breeds, they're bred to produce eggs. That's their sole purpose in life. And that, I think, has compromised over time with the breeding of these chickens, has compromised maybe their other aspects of their physiology and their health system. But yeah, I would get some more. Kuchin. Is that how you say it? Kuchin. Okay, I'm going to get that right now. Yes, Kat, do your chicken check-in submission. I want to see your chickens and I want to hear all about them. So John has asked what kind of animals we want to keep on the small hoarding. So we're going to aim for good, well-rounded, dual-purpose breeds that are local rare breeds, if possible, just to kind of give us a slight edge. So we're going to do the red poll cow, we're going to do the Ixworth chickens. I don't think there is a local pig or a local goat, but we are going to definitely do milking goats because I want to sell goat's milk. And I want to I'm going to look into this because a few farmers have started to do it. They've started to have like a vending machine at the end of their drive with raw milk in it. So I want to find out all about that because I would love to sell raw milk direct from the farm in a vending machine type thing. So that's definitely, and then obviously tons and tons of birds. So my granddad always kept Muscovy ducks. So I really want Muscovy ducks, some ornamental ducks, pheasants. I think we're just going to look at it as not traditional farming, more a collection of animals and livestock that could be in demand. So pedigree, Suffolk sheep, things like pheasants, peacocks, stuff like that. Stuff that we can make some money on, but also is just a joy to look after. And I'm not going to be able to afford all this, but I really also like heavy horse, Suffolk punch, because they are beautiful, beautiful horses. But I haven't kept any horses ever in my entire life, so that's a whole learning experience unto itself. Alfie, so I'm just growing turnips for the first ever time, and I'm only growing those tiny little turnips. So I went to Wilko and they were £1 each, I think. So I've got those snowball turnips, which if you watch a lot of the Market Farm YouTube channels, they grow this tiny little snowball turnip, and I've done Milan purple top as well, so I've never grown them before. They're just developing their first true leaves, so we'll see how it goes. A Shetland horse, maybe, is that what you're talking about? Yeah, I love Muscovies. People think they're ugly, but I like them. Right, I'm just trying to catch up with all your questions. Yeah, that's Renate, exactly. It's really, really important to check demand. I mean, it's all very well and good rushing out and getting all those animals that you really, really want. But at the end of the day, they might have to provide you with stuff for you, so eggs or meat or milk. And B, if you want to sell them, there's got to be a demand for them, because I'm not going to be running a pet sanctuary or a petting zoo where everybody gets a free ride. I want to run an actual working smallholding where we live off the land and we eat the animals. And my granddad always taught me well, so that you always have 1 or 2 token animals that live their whole life. They get to retire, they get to stay on the farm, old age, and then everybody else is a free-for-all. So I always had, me and my sister always had our own sheep, and they were lambs, and they grew up, and they were allowed to stay on the farm, and they grew to old age, and then they went for the chop. But everybody else got eaten, and that's kind of my principle as well. I mean, the only problem with that is you end up with basically a retirement village of ancient animals. You know, I don't mind that, as long as I'm still making a living and earning the other animals, their livestock, their offspring are, you know, keeping us in food and a bit of money. Yes, we do. I do want to do fruit trees. So the guy that bought the all the buildings and the farmyard, he actually planted a massive apple orchard, which is amazing. So we're probably going to be able to get apples off him. Over in the next year, I'm probably going to start building or planting a nuttery. I don't know if that's a phrase, but basically nut trees that are good in a temperate environment. So I'm going to start planting that, and then I want to do cordon fruit trees. So as you come into the drive, the idea is where the house will be here and the drive is here, and then as you come in, I want a big gabion wall, and the sun hits that wall, and that's where I want to put loads of cordon trees and do my whole fruit, basically my entire fruit crop as cordon trees along that wall, because you can fit tons into a small space, and they're much easier to manage and keep under control, and also they're easier to pick. Well, I think Alana, my granddad only did it to humour his grandchildren. You know, sometimes we would sit down to roast dinner and discover that we were eating, you know, Freddie the cockerel, who was beloved to us. But that just became normal, you know. So we'd suddenly discover that we were eating the lamb that we'd sat in my nan's kitchen bottle feeding for all of its starter life. But that just became the way of things. Because at the end of the day, my granddad, you know, he lived through the war, he farmed through the war, he knew where food came from, so food was food, and he couldn't get too sentimental about it. Khalid, if I knew the answer about how to stop a hen going broody, I would be rich, because I currently have 6 broody hens, and the only way I can think of getting them off broody is to give them some eggs, which I really don't want to do, because I've got too many chicks. Yeah, I'm going to be planting walnut. I'm going to be planting hazelnut, and some others. Can you tell I haven't really researched this properly yet? But I'm definitely going to be planting loads of trees. And I just had an idea the other day as well. I can't remember where I found it from. But, I think it was again from Liz, who's growing this willow. I've decided I want to grow, by the nuttery, I want to grow a living willow dome. So that you can collect all your nuts and you can go and sit inside the willow dome and like shell them. Yeah, that's a really good idea, Brian, and something I probably would look into. And also school trips and things, coming to look around the farm. And the other nice thing is, because we've got the holiday cottages literally right there, we can we want to have a little farm shop, but we can sell direct to them as well, organic veggies and stuff. Hi, Pia. My battery is low as well. I've just had to plug it in. I have got a fig up there. I don't know whether you watched, I think it was the last farm vlog. I had a really, really badly looked after fig when it was little, and then it came to me, and unfortunately, it hasn't got one trunk. It's kind of got its crown, and then lots of things coming out from it. But I've planted it up there, and I planted it actually in a drought, and I thought it was going to be dead. And then we went up this past weekend, and it was growing really well. So we've got the first fig up there, but I don't know the cultivar, and I don't know whether it's an ornamental fig or an edible fig, because there is a difference. So I'm going to definitely buy some more fig trees as well, because I would love to have figs. And actually, along with those cordon trees, I'd like to have kind of an espalier fig. We went to, I can't remember what it's called. There's a zoo in Kent, and they've got a beautiful vegetable garden, and they had a magnificent espalier fig tree with, you know, its trunk, it must have been ancient, its trunk was like this big, and it was beautiful, covered in figs. So I really want to do that. So many things to do. So far, John, none of the authorities have thwarted any plans aside from the caravan issue, because I'm not really the camping type. I can do a couple of nights, and after that I want to have a shower, I want to go to the toilet. So we wanted to put a caravan on site, to store tools and stuff in, but also to stay. And they basically said no, because you can over here you can only do it for 28 days. So if you've got land, you can park a caravan on it for 28 days per year maximum. I thought we could park the caravan on there and just use it 28 days, but it's not. It's the caravan being on the land. Now, would anybody know there was a caravan there? Probably not, but I don't want to get in the planner's bad books before putting in for planning permission. I've been looking up rules and regulations, and it does seem like actually we could put a caravan there and fight it on the argument that there is no shelter, there is no toilet facilities there, and when you're working, part of the Health and Safety Act in the UK is that you must provide a place to eat, a place to go to the toilet, and a place to shelter from bad weather for farm workers. So we could fight it on that principle, but we're not quite there yet. Oh, that sounds really, really cool, Brian. I'd like to. I'm gonna be googling espalier figs and fan figs now because I really want to see it. Googling caravan. Yeah, find out the answer for me, Kyle. Because and the other thing is when we go camping, we have to load the car up, and we often go with friends. So there's 4 big guys, 2 dogs, a massive tent, all our camping equipment and stuff, all packed into a little Fiesta. You can imagine how tight that is. Sometimes I've got dog beds underneath me in the driving seat. So if we had a caravan, at least we could leave all the tools up there. We could leave all the bedding up there. It'd be so much easier. But I'm not allowed to put a tow on my car because my car is on lease. So no, it's not on lease, it's on finance, sorry. But that means I'm not allowed to make any modifications to it. So I can't get a caravan up there and then tow it away. So yeah, it's an ongoing issue. You can camp, Alfie, you can camp on your land for a certain number of days. It's longer than caravanning. So you can have a caravan on your land for 28 days on farmland, and you can camp for 45 days maximum per year. And I think it's also 2 tents maximum at any one time, I think. It is ridiculous, and it's red tape gone mad. And I understand why they've done it, because they don't want somebody's plot of land suddenly turning into a site covered in tents or covered in caravans. But for the everyday person that just wants somewhere to sleep and work from, or go on holiday for a week on their own land, it's ridiculous. Aha, Brian. So Brian has just said the question he has would be to find out whether the law insists it's the same caravan for 28 days. I think you probably couldn't get away with that by, doing 28 days with one caravan and 28 days with another. But there's always loopholes. Brown turkey. What a name for a fig. I love that. I'm going to look it up. Yeah, well, to be honest, I did actually contact my council rather than my councillor, and initially the council member that got back to me didn't even know about the caravan rules. I was actually telling him. So yeah, it's probably better to go through the council rules. Alfie, is that 28 days you're allowed now with camping? Or is that caravanning? I thought that was caravanning. But again, there's loads of rules as well. With farmland, there's tons of random rules. So, for instance, if you have an orchard and you need to hire seasonal workers like a woodcutter to look after your orchard, you can actually give them a bow to live in. You can also provide living and residential living for seasonal workers farming your land. So there's lots of, if you know about them, there's lots of laws you can spout back, and a lot of these councillors don't know them because they've never come across them before. But these laws also aren't easy to find. You know, there's no one go-to place where you can just look it up online and find out. So that's the issue. And at the moment, as I say, we're kind of stuck here for at least another 2 years. Once we start applying for planning permission for the house, then, as long as we get that, as permitted development, we can have the caravan on site for 5 years. So we'll obviously live in that caravan while we're doing the house. Thanks, John. I might take you up on that one day. Well, that's the thing, Carl. Are there inspectors? We haven't got any public footpaths going through our land. The guy that bought the farmhouse has said to me repeatedly, when are you getting your caravan up here? Come on, get your caravan up here. So, in all honesty, probably nothing would happen. Probably nobody would even know it. And there is actually a caravan there. So there's an ancient caravan there, which I can prove has been there since at least 1999 from Google aerial photos. So I think actually that is now a long enough period from 1999 to apply for a change of use, which they wouldn't be able to turn down. Possible change of use to put the caravan in exactly a new caravan in exactly the same spot the caravan is. It's just extra paperwork though to go through, and money for admin fees. So I haven't got round to it yet, but that is another option. I was wondering what hip thrust for glutes meant. No, I haven't always wanted to be a smallholder. It's funny because actually, you know, I left as soon as I was 18. I got out of Ipswich. I headed straight down to London. I was young. I wanted to go to university. I wanted to go clubbing. I wanted the bright lights. And so I had no interest in smallholding at all. It's only as a kind of, I think after a year of that, a year of, you know, clubbing all the time, drinking, being a student, I then was over it. And I always had animals and I always had plants. And it's just stemmed and grown and grown and grown. And then I've realised, then I was like, oh, I watch a lot of Grand Designs, and I was like, oh, I want to build my own house. And then I met somebody else that wants to do exactly the same and build their own house. So I think it has grown. I mean, in hindsight, it's very easy to say, had I wanted to be a smallholder at that time, I might have actually just taken it straight over from my grandpa. But actually, I needed to go through that journey as a kid, as a student and stuff, to mature and learn who I was. Yeah. So, I mean, it would have been easier if I just decided I wanted to do that. But then life experience makes you who you are. So then I might not have wanted to be a smallholder, or I might have done it for a few years and then wanted to move to London. This way, at least I know I want to do it. Favourite great veg? Easy stuff. Now, stuff that I like. I spent so much time on the allotment growing things that I just didn't like. And okay, I'm gonna be honest. I hate cooking. I hate it. I really hate it. I just can't be bothered to put in all that time, and you eat it so quickly. So I like to grow things that I actually do like to eat, and preferably that I can eat raw. So I like radishes. I like carrots. I like salady things, tomatoes, cucumbers, because they're all stuff that I don't have to cook and I can just eat them and snack on them, because I really hate cooking and I'm not very good at it either. I'm trying to sort that out with, you know, my meat birds and my chickens. And I'm just starting to I've done some preserves this week, so I've made loads of jam. I'm just about to start doing some pickles. So I'm trying to get into it that way. But the thing is, I'd rather be outside dealing with livestock and growing vegetables than stuck in the kitchen. So, yeah, so in answer, a long-winded answer to your question, anything that's easy to grow and I can eat quickly. My husband loves cooking, and that's partly how he wooed me with spare ribs and lamb shanks. He doesn't get a lot of time to do it because he has to work like a crazy man, but he's really good at cooking, and he puts the time and effort in, and he knows how to season, and he's Bangladeshi, so he's got all of those spicy things as well. So he grew up with his mum making really nice spicy curries and stuff. So yeah, he's a really good cook. I've been gibbering away for almost an hour, so I might have to stop this soon. Yeah, Kat. So Kat, when are you going to go away and do some coursework? So preserving fruit and veg and canning. I've never done canning. Is it even a thing over here in the UK? I see a lot of American YouTube channels doing it, but I've never come across it so much over here. I have done some preserving. I preserved I did loads of pickled beetroot last year, which was, oh my god, it was amazing. And I'm about to do some cucumbers, pickled cucumbers. So that's kind of the thing that I'm getting into now, because I'm not really au fait with it, but I don't want to have to be freezing loads of stuff, because then you're utilising a freezer and needing electricity. So I would like to start doing more preserves that you can stick in a cool pantry. And actually tomorrow's job is to clear out under the stairs, because I've got loads of shelving in there, and I'm going to try and make the under the stairs cupboard into a little pantry. So there won't be any Harry Potter in there, there will be food. Yeah, and fermented veggies is a really popular thing, and I listen to the Archers, and they're pretty on trend with some of the stuff, and fermented food and kefir and stuff is supposed to be becoming really madly popular, so that's definitely a route I'm going to go down. Oh, chutney. Oh yeah, I need to make some chutney as well. See, these are the things that I need to learn, because again, I'm not very good at cooking, so I need to focus and put my mind to these things. Right, we're almost at an hour, so I think I might wrap it up soon. So, so canning in the US is bottling here. Well, yeah, maybe it's the same thing then. I see a lot of the sites using these canners and putting pressure weights and stuff in them, which I have no idea, because when I did a little bit of fruit canning or fruit bottling a few years ago, I didn't use any weights or anything. I've never done pickled eggs. I need to try it. I don't know how long they last. You know, is it a few months, or is it like half a year, or... Okay, guys, I think I'm going to wrap this up, because it has been an hour. And what's the time? And it's 11:30. So I need to go to bed, really. But thank you for coming by, and my first ever live session. I think it went pretty well. And it's actually, you know what? It's really, really nice, because I get to talk to all of you in the comments. But, you know, that's not immediate. Whereas this is really, really cool. And I really like being able to just chat and chill out with you guys. And yes, I am hoping to make it a regular thing. I don't know whether Saturdays is a good day for everybody, because you know, you might be going out getting drunk, dancing, but I'm not. I've done that, so almost every Saturday night I am in. So I might make it a Saturday evening thing around this time, so that, you know, people from all over the country, it's not too late for people over in Europe, but it's not too early for the people over in America and Canada and stuff. But I will see you all again soon. Thank you for joining, and yeah, if you've got any more questions, let's try and do it again next week as well. Bye.